Hello and welcome to Tony's Bonsai. I keep saying to myself, don't buy any more trees, and I really mean it, but I just had no option. I had to get some of these. These are Katsura trees, not to be confused with the Katsura maple. These are a completely different type of tree. And what's special about these, apart from the amazing autumn colour, is that in autumn, apparently, even now they do, that's supposed to get even stronger, but it smells like candy floss or toffee apples. It's amazing. Wow. Oh, that's lovely. I can't wait for autumn. I picked these up online. They were fairly cheap, and I've got 6 of them with the idea of making a group. I am kind of tempted to just put them in the ground. They're very thin, and really they need a few years to thicken up, but I don't want to put everything that I've got in the ground, and I thought these would be good to create some kind of landscape with. I've got a fairly deep pot here, which is a good size. I think the colour will work really well with the golden autumn colour. So yeah, let's go for it. I'll put some mesh in the bottom to cover the drainage holes, and I'll just add some bonsai soil. Like that. Before I start putting this group together and looking at the trees though, I want this group to have some rocks in it. It's not going to be a root over rock, but I want it to be kind of like a landscape with rocks in it and the trees growing around the rocks is my plan. So exactly which rocks to use, I'm unsure at the moment. I've sort of got to work this out now. I want at least 2, possibly 3 rocks, and the trees growing around them. I've never done this before, anything like this, so for me it's a question now of kind of working out how these could look best. Definitely need more soil in there first though, I think. That gets the soil level higher, because obviously I want these rocks above the lip of the pot. I don't want them buried. And I kind of like this one there. I've got 6 trees. That doesn't mean I have to use all 6. I could use just 5. And I think possibly it's always tricky arranging small numbers of trees like this. I use these chopsticks to just give me an idea of perhaps where the trees could go. Maybe a couple close together over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe another one here. Maybe something like that could work. Let me have a look from behind the camera. Yeah, quite interesting. I don't like how this tree would be coming from behind this. And I'm kind of wondering if I should almost bury one of these. Kind of have like a sort of a rocky outcrop like that coming up. Tree next to it there. Couple to the side there. Could I put 2 rocks in here? Is that reasonable? Something like that. Yeah, I quite like that actually. I think that works quite well. I think the 2 rocks is going to be too complicated. Let's just stick to 1 rock. I like that there. These 2 here. sort of 2 trees there. These 2 there. That's, I'm quite liking that as an idea. Nothing's too close to the tree, but perhaps, sorry, nothing's close to the rock, but perhaps I could do one of the trees relatively close like that. So it'd almost be like a 2, a 2 and a 2, which could work. And it doesn't look even. Sometimes when you've got an even number of trees, it looks too orderly and sort of symmetrical and stuff. But because of the rock, you've almost got 7 elements to it. When I used to do a lot of photography, one of the things we used to consider is called visual weight. So it's not just the size of something, it's the visual weight that as a viewer we attach to an item that we're looking at. So we can attach a certain amount of visual weight to the rock and a certain amount to the trees, and everything's not equal. So I think I might get away with getting all 6 in there in that kind of composition. I like that. I think that's working well. It's not a great time of year to be doing anything with trees like this. The leaves are very tender and soft. There's been a bit of damage in transit, but they still look relatively healthy. But down at the bottom, there are quite a lot of weeds in these pots. I need to get this weed out, obviously. But that's all. Well, they've got really nice, healthy root systems, so that's great. But this liverwort definitely needs taking off, and I'll just use my fingers to get rid of that. They seem to be nice and healthy in this compost, but I'm sure they'll prefer a nice, well-draining bonsai soil. And although they're going to take a lot longer to thicken up, not being in the open ground, you know, they still will thicken. It'll just take a little longer. Well, I have ended up taking off as much of that peat as I could. I'm not going crazy going in there, removing all of it, but I've just tried to just get any of the major big lumps out of there. And I think this will allow the trees to be a lot healthier, and it'll just work out as a better planting in the long run, I think. There is a bit of a gamble that the trees don't make it, but you know, if they don't make it, I can always buy some more next spring and do it at the right time, but I'm thinking they'll be all right. One by one, I'm going to remove these sticks and just place one of these trees in there. I'm not particularly choosing amongst them, but I suppose if there's any with a slightly better root base, this one's got a good kind of root base down there. I'll put this at the front. So this one can go in here. And all I'll do is just make a hole with my hand. Spread those roots out. And just put the soil back in on top. Bit of extra soil. And just sort of chopstick it down into the roots. There. And I think that will be fine in there. I really do. My next one, this has got a bit of a wonky root. If it was a tree on its own, I'd have to sort this root out and remove that because it's a bit of an ugly one, but I'm not going to start going through taking roots off now on these trees. If I do that, I'm going to kill them, and I don't want to do that, so I'll sacrifice a bit of a freaky root, and I'll kind of hide it behind the rock back here. And if I see any bits of weed that I've missed, obviously I'll just pull those out. Oh, so that's nicely in there, in position. And there's kind of 2 going next to each other back here. So I'll get the soil next to it removed. Pick another tree. This one's got a bit of a curve to it, which is quite nice. So that can possibly go out here, coming outwards. This is an okay one. It's not got the best roots. So again, it's probably another good one to hide back here. And you know, as I'm working with these, the smell is absolutely lovely. I've got a very sweet tooth, me. I always have had. I'm on a bit of a diet at the moment. I put a bit of weight on, so I'm really not eating any sweets. And so working on these is really kind of testing me. This is the leaning one. So this can have a slight lean outwards. I don't really know much about people using Katsura for bonsai. I don't think it's that popular a tree. I'm not sure why. In terms of feel, it kind of looks, the leaves look a little bit like a ginkgo. I don't know if it's in the ginkgo family, but they've got that similar kind of look. Ah, this one's got a lovely root base, really nice radial spread. That's a cracker. So this one can go right at the front here. Root base on show, best side to the front, facing you. You might notice this one behind the rock is the shortest of them all. It was damaged in transit, so the top had kind of snapped over. So I just cut it with a pair of scissors and it'll be fine. They're all being reduced in the future anyway. But this one may well not be quite as strong a grower as the others, so I'd rather have it further back. Again, it's got a slight lean, this one, so that's ideal to point it out slightly towards the edge of the pot. At this stage now, I need to come round to the camera view and have a really good look and check that, you know, I've got the composition right. Okay, I'm quite liking this this group. I think it looks good. The only thing I'm thinking is well, these two are definitely not right. This is coming from here and crossing across this trunk, which I don't want. I want this one to be the outside tree. So just by moving them a little bit like that, I'm happy with this one. Equally, this one, I think, works quite well. They're both leaning over slightly, but you know, I'm not kind of too concerned about these sort of things at this stage. There. Right, yeah, so I'm liking that. The only thing I'm thinking is this area here at the back is quite dead. It's quite a blank area as I sort of look at it. This area is quite congested. This area has not got too much going on. I'm wondering if this rock switched so that the rock is adding weight this way could sort of balance that up a bit. No, I don't like it. I do like the rock over there that way. Yeah, that's my preference. It's just I need to come up with something to kind of fill this area. Perhaps I can pull this tree back a bit like that. Pull this one across. And in the future then, perhaps there could almost be a path coming through and round this way. That's better. That's better. I'm preferring that. Just these two ones on the right hand side that are lining up. I don't like that. I don't like them lining up. And I'm wondering if I rotate that rock like that, that should give this one just a bit of extra space there. This one can actually be quite close to the rock, I think. Like that. There. And then if I just get this one out towards the edge a bit more. Right, I'm going to get those chopsticked in and come back to you. And that's that done. Groups like this do always look a little bit underwhelming. The trunks are so thin, they don't look like trees. You know, everything's fresh. You've got to think with a long mind, like a lot of bonsai, and you've got to think into the future and think how this could look in 5 years' time. But it'll be an exciting journey developing this and watching these grow. Let's give this a spin then and show you from all angles. I do think it looks okay from each angle, from all sides. But as usual with a group, there tends to be one front. And this is it. The exact orientation of that rock can be changed a little in the future if I decide to. You know, maybe it can go around a bit like that. But these are just fine details that I can tweak as I develop this planting into the future. I need to get this outside now, give it a good drink, and just generally look after it for the next few weeks while it hopefully bounces back. I'll be keeping you updated on this through the course of the year, especially in autumn when it's hopefully had a good summer growing and is nice and bright orange and yellow. As always, thanks for joining me. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.